Hi everyone, Dana Burkholder here. Today we're going to talk about an area to develop that I feel is super important for our youth, and that is their environment. And we're going to specifically talk about the external environment today. And what does that mean, right? There's multiple environments that we exist in within each day. That could be my room, that could be my house, that could be my neighborhood, my school, my classroom, my car, right? I go in and out of different environments, but it's really important that we teach youth to become aware of their environment and aware of the environments that they put themselves in. Because in many ways, our environment determines how we engage, how we behave, even sometimes how we act or who we become. And so we want to be really cognizant of the environment that we put ourselves in. We want youth to start to understand that their environment has a lot of impact on them. Let's take the environment of a room, for example, right? Like everything's so fast paced these days, and we're going here and we're going there, and our own individual room, whether that's our office or our bedroom, can get just messy, right? And we can get kind of discombobulated in there where this is here and that's there, and like we're not really sure where anything is. If, however, we can just be more mindful in our practice with our own environment and work to put things in their place or put things in their home or to organize things in such a way that, I'm more mindful, I'm more aware of where they are and why they're there and what their purpose is. I'm going to be engaging in a space more regularly, especially if it's my room, right? Because I'm there quite frequently. That's more coherent, that's more organized. And as a result, my system, my physical body, my mental body, my emotional body are going to be able to relax because my environment is harmonious and it's harmonious to me. Like I can go into somebody else's room and go, wow, this is amazing. This feels so good. Or I could go into somebody else's room and be like, oh my gosh, this is like just a total disaster. I don't want to be here. But the key is to start to just become aware of the environment that's around us and put ourselves in environments that support the best version of who we are and support the goals that we have and the values that we have. And that's not always easy. Sometimes we go somewhere with someone and we are where we are. Well, that's when the internal environment becomes important, and we'll talk about that in the next video. But when we're working with kids, the gym is their first environment that we're in, right? Assuming we're doing volleyball or something. So how can we create a harmonious and developmental environment for youth? What should it sound like? What should it feel like? What kind of spaces do we have? What are the colors? What are the textures? And, I know for me in the club that I used to run, I was really detail orientated with this space that we created so that it felt welcoming, so it felt safe, so it felt open and spacious, and that there was a place for everyone there, and that they knew where to go and where to be and how to be on time, and it could show up in a state of relaxation and also focus, right? Because when we're at the gym, we want to be able to focus. And when we have a consistent, clear environment, we are actually able to focus our energies. And so this is why it's so important, for the youth space to have infrastructure and to have coordination and organization so that the kids aren't, obstructed by anything unnecessary in the environment. And that they also feel that sense of safety and welcome. We want to be more aware of the environment that we're creating for others, especially youth. And we also want to teach youth how to become more aware of the environment around them. And we can use, their room, the most consistent place they are. Or we could use, we could go beyond that and say, well, what environment do you have around you socially? Because if our friends are an environment, and how they talk and what they wear and what they listen to and what they do is an environment. And when you step into a social environment, it influences their behavior and the things that they think about and sometimes who they are. And so they want to be more mindful about where they put themselves and recognize that not all environments are equal, and that they want to be part of creating that environment socially that they're going to put themselves in so that it supports who they are. They're not just jumping into somebody else's environment and agreeing with everything. They're co-creating that environment so that it supports who they are and mirrors and reflects the values that they have and the intentions that they have for their life. Another environment that we don't often think about that's external to us is the music environment. And this one's particularly important for kids because music penetrates our physical body through vibration, and it greatly impacts our emotional body and also our thinking body, because music, most of it, has words. And so we want kids to understand that when they enter their headphones or they enter an environment with music, that influences them, and is it working for them? Does it support positive thinking? Does it support valuing others? Does it support them showing up with respect and focus and a sense of self that is strong and powerful and, capable? Unfortunately, there's a lot of music out there that creates a very messy or ruckus or destructive even environment. And it goes into us when we listen to it, especially when it's in our headphones, and that sort of becomes our world. And I don't think kids, think about that enough or recognize that. And I think, a lot of us as adults, we recognize that, but we don't necessarily know how to influence that in a more positive manner. And for me, it comes down to conversations. Like, let's start talking to kids about that external environment that they're putting themselves into, and how music is an external environment that they bring into their internal world, and that it impacts them. And here's the ways that it impacts them: physically, mentally, emotionally, how they think, how they feel. And is that what they want? If they want to be pumped up, that's great. But are they being pumped up with positive messaging? Or are they being pumped up with, let's say, more aggressive messaging? And, ultimately, is it putting them in a state of mind and a state of being that supports who they want to be and the success that they want to create in their life? And if it doesn't, what other music is out there? Maybe you need to take your kids on a musical journey and show them other types of music so they are even aware that it's out there, because, they're only exposed to such a small window of music based on, the top 10 hits of the day. And at the end of the day, there's so much amazing music out there that can uplift us and help us to expand our sense of self and, think more openly and open our hearts. And I mean, it's truly incredible, the range of music that's out there. And it's a very, very important environment that all of us are exposed to. And it's something that we can take more ownership of. So we'll stop there, but that's a few different ways to think about external environment today, with some crossover with the music, and we will expand on this in our next video. Thanks so much.